Alright everybody, so I finally finished my Friday the 13th review series. I will leave a card if you want to check those out, go right ahead. Now, I will be doing this from worst to best, like every ranking ever, and I will only talk about each film for about a minute at the most, because I already talked about all these movies before for like 30-40 minutes each. So, like I said, I got long reviews for you to check out if you haven't already. This is my opinion, of course, let me stress that. Alright, it's my opinion, it's going to be a little bit controversial. Your favorite movie is not necessarily going to be mine. My least favorite will probably not be your least favorite. Who knows? But that's not a reason to be a dick. Alright, and if you're new to this channel and you want to see stuff like this, I got all kinds of content like this. Rankings and horror franchise reviews, and standalone horror movie reviews, and new movies when they do come out eventually. Right now, there's nothing coming out because of fucking COVID. But let's talk about, but yeah, become, where I was going with that is become a subscriber if you like what I just said. Alright, that's what I do if you're new here. Horror channel. Now let's talk about this horror franchise. Let's start at the bottom at number 12. What is my least favorite Friday the 13th movie? It is Jason Goes to Hell. This is the one installment I've seen the least, next to Jason X, probably 3 or 4 times at the most. This was one of those movies like Halloween 3 when I was watching as a kid, like, what the fuck is this? Where's Jason? This is not a Friday the 13th movie. This is the Hidden remade. I'm not sure if Adam Marcus knew if he was copying the Hidden, but he kind of did. And the only thing good about this movie is the gore. There's very good practical effects. There's body melting, body horror, and some TNA that I like. A girl getting split in half, very good K&B effects. K&B touched like every major franchise. They did a Leatherface movie. They did, I think, a Phantasm movie. They did like every freaking franchise you can think of. They did the Maniac remake. They've done everything. Hills Have Eyes, you name it. They've had their print on every fucking movie. They've touched everything. And they touched this movie. It's unfortunate they couldn't do the other ones after Tom Savini left, because then those would have had great effects. Or maybe not, because the MPAA would have cut them down to shit, but whatever. This movie, it just offends me. It's not a Friday the 13th movie. There's hardly any Jason. It's one of my least favorite looks of Jason, and it just pisses me off. Creighton Duke is an interesting character, but they waste him in the end. He does fucking nothing. Alright, so Jason Goes to Hell can go to hell, and it will always be my number 12. Number 11 goes to a movie that I really liked as a kid. I kind of have a love-hate relationship with it because there's moments that I really like, but there's a lot of things that weigh it down to number 11, and that is Jason Takes Manhattan. This movie does not take Manhattan. He's in Times Square, and that's it. Everything else that you think is New York is Vancouver. The alleyways, the subway, I'm sure that was Vancouver, the rooftops. It's just not a good movie. It takes them over an hour and like 5 minutes to get to New York. And then, like I said, it's just Vancouver. There's good shots in the movie, you know, him in New York, that camera pan. I love that shot. It's one of the best shots, one of the most iconic moments of the franchise, and especially this movie. It has its highlights. There's one of the best performances of Kane Hodder's Jason. Next to Jason X, this is one of his most vicious Jasons. He does a lot more. The kills aren't as choppy as they were in Part 7, although it's not gory or bloody. It's just not so apparent that things were taken out. I think they were purposely written this way so that they wouldn't have to take shit out. You got Julius, which is a fun character. He gets his head punched off. Very awesome kill. One of the best kills in the franchise. I will be doing a top like 13 kills video at some point. I'm not sure when. But yeah, there's just lots of things that piss me off about this movie. Like right out of the gate. The movie opens up with the key, ma, but it's not the same sound at all. And then you got all these visions of Jason, which are just so pointless. It's just to make Rennie, or Jenny, or whatever, I think it's Rennie, the weakest final girl of the franchise, the most forgettable one, the one who just is so blah. Like, there's nothing to her character. They purposely try to give her, like, this history with Jason, and it's unnecessary. Alright, she did not see Jason in that lake. That's bullshit. Oh, and Jason teleports a lot in this movie. So yeah, we got that. Number 10 goes to a movie that would probably go 1 or 2 spots higher if it had its gore, and that is Friday the 13th Part 7, The New Blood. This was directed by John Carl Buechler, a effects wizard. This guy created so many creatures and effects in the mid-late 80s with all kinds of movies. Look it up. He's got tons of credits under his belt. The Hatchet movie, the first one, great kills, great effects, John Carl Buechler, Jack Cracker himself. You hire that guy to make these effects just so you can cut them from the film. Makes no sense at all. And this is, it's the introduction to Kane Hodder as Jason. It's the best looking Jason of them all easily. It's very badass. This is stunt Jason. He gets put through the ringer. He's getting his ass handed to him by Tina. Not the best final girl, not the best active final girl either. Not crazy about her performance. She just kind of stares at things and then they move. It's definitely the point in the franchise where it started to go downhill, which is why it's so low. I just feel like they should have taken this concept less serious. When you have Carrie versus Jason, they should have injected a little bit more humor and did what Part 6 did. That's the reason why that one's so popular and why it works so well and resonates with a lot of people, is because of the self-referential humor that inspired Scream, probably. But yeah, just the location, the look of Camp Crystal Lake. It's like in Alabama. It just doesn't look like Camp Crystal Lake. The score is like done by a new composer now. Doesn't work well for me either. Lots of things don't work for this. I like that Jason starts to use like different tools, but the kills are all cut away, so using different tools doesn't even matter. Number 9, we'll go to Jason X in Space. This is the most vicious Kane Hodder Jason. He is just grabbing people and being really rough with them, throwing them around, banging their heads up against walls. He takes 5 people out in the opening. Like, just in that opening, he kills like 6 people. So that's the only time you'll see that in this franchise. Jason taking out multiple people in like one scene, besides the cornfield scene in Freddy vs. Jason. But that wasn't Kane Hodder, and that's a fucking mistake. And this one's fine. Like, it's not a great made movie. It's just not. I can't defend this movie, but I can say that some of the humor works, but some of it doesn't. Some of it's a little too weird and over the top, like the whole like nipple twisting thing. Just take that out. It's so what the fuck. And I liked some of the production design of the futuristic spaceship. I liked the look of it. It was a little creative. And the final girl in this movie is fine. She fights back a lot, especially in the opening. I like the explanation about how Jason got to space. I like that we got an explanation, because they could have pulled a Leprechaun 4 and just had Jason in space from the opening. But they didn't do that. And we get Uber Jason, which is badass, and that awesome like holodeck scene where everything like changes around him, and now he's back in Camp Crystal Lake, and we do like the sleeping bag kill all over again. Great scene, and one of the greatest kills in the franchise with the cryogenic sink where the woman's face freezes up and he smashes it. Awesome kill. So Jason X, fun movie, just not the best acting or best characters, and it took Jason to space, which is just really silly and doesn't make the franchise look good. Number 8, this is a sequel that a few years ago I would have said is like top 5. But now, after watching it again, some things really stood out that bugged me. And that is Friday the 13th Part 3, 3D. The things that really bugged me about this movie and the things that hold it this far down is A, the acting is so horrid, and that is because of the 3D. The 3D that doesn't age well, by the way. That's another thing that bugs me. The 3D, I can't watch it in 3D. I'm not going to put those stupid glasses on that are red and blue. Not going to watch it. That's a headache, all right? You can't watch the 3D, so there's no point. They got the long shots that just linger. It's so annoying. But because they were focusing on the 3D, they weren't focusing on the acting, and therefore it shows. It is awful. The characters are very weak in this movie, and you got the Larry Zerner who plays Shelly, annoying character, but at least he gives Jason his hockey mask, which is a good thing I say about this movie, is that it gives him the hockey mask. It's got some very cool kills. Because of the 3D, we got some creative, cool kills with the harpoon going through the eye, the eyeball popping out. Very neat stuff that always sticks out in my mind. I'll always remember those kills. Some of the best in the franchise. Split down the middle kill, the aftermath of that. And so yeah, the kills, the portrayal of Jason by Richard Brooker, this one set the template for what Jason should look and feel like and be like. It is the look of Jason that we know and love. Not part 2 where he's got like the half hair, half knots, and hillbilly outfit going on. Not my Jason. This is Jason to me. And it's got one of the best final acts of the franchise, and that's what's disappointing about this movie, is that the first 2/3 are so blah. The characters, the acting, the 3D shit. But then you get to the third act and you got Richard Brooker finally with that mask on. That's when the movie is at its strongest, is that third act. It's one of the best final chases. It's not the best final girl. I hate her little fucking flashback dream sequence. If it was a dream, I hope it was a dream, but she claims it was real, that she got like raped or attacked by Jason, and that's not Jason. That is an annoying thing. I want to take that scene from this movie, take it from history, erase it. Number 7, we'll go to Freddy versus Jason. This movie was lightning in the bottle. Like, it's amazing that we got this good of a Freddy versus Jason movie, because when you read all those other scripts, you hear all the other ideas that were floating around in Hollywood, we should be thankful that we got this. It makes the most sense, the story, concept-wise, how they were able to fuse these two franchises together was brilliant. You got the Hypnosil element from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise thrown into here. They take the fight to Freddy's world. They take it to Jason's world. It's got like some wrestling fight scenes towards the end. Freddy is like a wrestler now. It's got a badass soundtrack. Freddy is the best Freddy to me, like next to Dream Warriors. It's got that perfect blend of comedy and horror. The one-liners are there. Jason is tall, at his tallest, really. But Ken Kirzinger is not the best Jason. I'm not a fan of the look, the whole like burnt, charred, rotted look of the skin. It just looks like a rubbery mask, and just not a fan of the portrayal by Ken Kirzinger. It's like zombie Jason times 1,000. Like, if you thought he was a zombie Jason before, like 7 and 8 and whatnot, this is zombie Jason multiplied. But yeah, it's a damn fun movie, but the only thing that holds it this far down is that it's really, to me, not a Friday the 13th movie, it's a Nightmare on Elm Street movie. Jason's really just a pawn that's being used by Freddy to, help him out. It's more Nightmare on Elm Street focused. All the dream sequences, and everybody's more focused on Freddy. Meanwhile, Jason's just going around doing his own thing. He's like a puppet with his strings cut. Lots of good kills. The opening kill, the bad thing, awesome. So yeah, fun movie, just not too much of a Friday the 13th movie. Wish there could have been a better Jason. Wish that Kane Hodder would have played Jason in this movie, or just somebody along the lines of, Kane Hodder or Ted White, somebody better. Number 6, we'll go to Friday the 13th Part 5. Roy Burns, The New Beginning. I agree that, they shouldn't have done Roy Burns as the killer. That reveal is very lazily written and thrown in there. It's just a dumb exposition ending like Psycho. Like, here's the newspaper clippings, here's why. And we could have had Roy give that speech, not the cop. And yeah, it's very silly. It's not well written at all. It's very sleazy. It's shot by a porn director, and it's obvious this one has the most nudity in the franchise. The nudity lingers on screen, but that's not a bad thing. We want that in the slasher movie, especially the Friday the 13th movies. It's got the highest body count. There's a few cool kills in here. The porta potty kill. You got Demon, one of the best characters in the franchise. That song, ooh baby, who doesn't love that song? But yeah, high body count. The flare kill, awesome kill. And just very memorable characters that you can quote. I laugh every time I watch this movie, and I just enjoy it. So that's why it's so high up. Yes, the gore is not really there, but I can still enjoy this movie, even though Jason's not the killer. It's not the best Jason portrayal by Tom Morga, who played Michael Myers for a little bit in Halloween 4, right? He was the bandaged Myers. Yeah, he's just like slender, stock Jason. Yeah. Kind of speed walks a little bit, somehow can bust a door down. Like, Roy Burns is like on steroids now all of a sudden. But yeah, it's an entertaining movie. So that is why Part 5 is my number 6. Number 5 and 4 go back and forth for me, and on any given day it could switch. So number 5 as of now will be Friday the 13th Part 2, most people's favorite movie. Like, it's either 2, 4, or 6, even numbers. 2, 4, or 6 are people's favorites. But 2, what doesn't work for me in this movie is simply Jason and the MPAA fuck the kills in this movie. You got the shish kebab kill that got cut down. You got, the throat slit that got cut down. This chick just runs into the camera and dies. The kills are very lame in this movie, and it's a shame. But the wheelchair kill is very great because of how mean-spirited it is. You got a guy in a wheelchair getting killed and then thrown down 2 flights of stairs after that. The characters are very good in this movie. I thought they were a step up from Part 1, and they're definitely better than the characters in 3 and a lot of the other ones. This one, next to Part 4, 5 and 6 competes with good, one of the best characters. 2, 4, 5, and 6 have my favorite characters. I know I'm probably alone on 5. Everybody thinks they're all the, but I like them. But yeah, great characters, great final girl, iconic ending with the whole sweater. Mom, Jason, mommy's talking to you. But Jason's look in this movie, the hillbilly Jason, the potato sack, gunny sack thing on his head, with one eye cut out for some reason. Why not cut out two? Why are you making it so hard for yourself to see? No wonder you're stumbling around like an idiot, falling down, breaking pitchforks. It's just not a very scary Jason to me, and that's why it kind of tampers the film for me. It taints it and puts it where it is, at number 5. But number 4 will go to the original, the one that I kind of struggle. Is it better than part 2? Directing wise, maybe not, but I think that this one is just better because of the kills by Tom Savini, which is what we go to see these movies for, is the kills. You got the Kevin Bacon kill, you got Annie, who's one of my favorite characters in the franchise, just because of how fun and nice and full of life that she is, and that life gets taken from her way too soon. She's like the Marion of Psycho. You think she's the main girl, she's so nice, but then it's Alice, which I'll admit is not a very good final girl. She's not interesting at all. She just so happens to be the last girl alive. And she's not even a virgin. She fucked Steve Christie. And she's smoking pot at one point, I think. But yeah, the kills are on point. Half of them are cutaway kills, though. But the ones we see on screen are great and are better than almost all the kills in part 2 to me. Outside of just the what was it, Mark? The wheelchair kill. Outside of that, well, I think all the kills in part 2 are kind of lame. Part 1, I think the kills are way better, and the killer is better. Yes, it's a cop-out reveal. They give you all these red herrings and then say, psych, it's this person who you've never met. That's a cop-out, that's bad writing, but I think that it's a better killer. Even though that's bad writing, I think Pamela's scarier than Jason in part 2. We understand her motivation. She's got more personality than Jason, obviously, because she can talk. I just think she's a little bit more frightening, because she's so psychotic. And I like some of the atmosphere in the third act, some of the stormy atmosphere that became kind of a trope for the rest of the franchise, where towards the end there was always like a windstorm or a rainstorm. It started with this one. And the whole POV opening, the iconic logo hitting the screen, it's just got nostalgia for me. Especially, they all do, but this one, it started it all, so I have to give it credit over part 2. Not only because of that, but all the other things I said. So yeah, part 1 and 2, I think part 1 might just be slightly better. Slightly. Number 3, and this is where a lot of people, half of you are going to hate me for it because it's so high up, and the other half will be like, it should be number 1. Maybe, I don't know, but half of you are probably going to be pissed off that it's this high, and that's the remake. The complaints I hear about this movie just don't make sense to me. Like, Jason shouldn't run, or Jason shouldn't have tunnels, Jason wouldn't take a hostage. Like, it makes sense given what Jenny did in part 2, like the whole, she reminds him of his mom, he's got the shrine thing still. It does everything that you would want in a Friday the 13th remake. You got Jason at his most menacing, played by Derek Mears. He runs, and I like that, and he's just very hulking and brutal, the way he kills people, shoving the screwdriver through the guy's throat. He just does not take shit from anyone. As soon as anyone fights back, he just turns into the Hulk almost. He's like throwing shit around, he gets pissed off. He's got more emotions in this movie, so much that he actually like gives a shit what he looks like. He puts on the mask and he looks in the mirror like, does this look good? Which is a silly scene, but it's a great Jason. It's got good kills, not great kills, there's no gore, but the kills are good. There's plenty of them. There's like 13 deaths. It's got plenty of nudity, and it's got gorgeous babes, some of the hottest chicks in the franchise, next to like part 4. And it's the best looking Friday the 13th movie. It's got great cinematography. It's probably one of the best directed Friday the 13th movies, and it's just one of the best in the franchise. I'm not gonna lie. It's a good movie. It's a good slasher. It does what a slasher should, and that's why it's so high up. If I want to see a great Jason, and I want to see dumbasses that I want to see get killed because they suck, which these characters do suck, and that's why it's not higher than this. If these characters were great, and the gore was great, it would probably be number 1, but those are the two things that put it down at 3. So, moving on to my number 2, will be Friday the 13th Part 6, Jason Lives. I love that this one finally took the humor approach. They went the comedy route. There's one scene where it goes a little too far with the guy who gets his head thrown up against a tree and somehow makes a smiley face. I thought as a kid that smiley face was already there, because logically speaking, that would make more sense than his face hitting it so hard that there's a smiley face there. I don't get that scene at all. That's too much. But I like that it like breaks the fourth wall. It's self-referential. You know, you folks have a strange idea of entertainment. The opening, you got Jason Bond, he slashes at the screen. It's just so fun. It's one of the quickest paced Friday the 13th movies. You got Tommy Jarvis played by Tom Matthews. One of the better Tommy Jarvis, Part 5. Tommy Jarvis was just not very interesting. He didn't really do much. He should have been the killer in Part 5. I think that's where they should have went with the franchise, but they didn't go that route. But yeah, great opening, great atmosphere, great soundtrack by Alice Cooper, fun kills, creative, not gory, but they went the creative approach. You know, the backbreaking, the sheriff, great characters. Love Sheriff Garris. He's very funny. He's got quotable lines. You're lucky you're not wearing your balls as earrings. You got the other cop with the big ass laser scope that's bigger than the gun itself. Wherever the red dot goes, you bang. Just so many great things. I love the final girl, Megan, even though she's not really the final person alive. She's a fun, energetic final girl who's trying to help Tommy. I like their little bond together, how she's just so quick. She falls in love with him so quick, even though he's like a criminal. He could be crazy, but she's like, whatever. She's rebellious. The RV scene, great shot of Jason, and a great portrayal of Jason by C.J. Graham, who was like a Marine. Just very fun. And the introduction to Tony Goldwyn, I think this was his first movie. One of his first. I think this was his first. I heard he got his SAG card because of this film. So yeah, great, fun, fast-paced Friday the 13th movie with fun characters, iconic moments like the ending, the whole circle of fire thing, great visuals, just a very fun time. So Friday the 13th Part 6 is my number 2. But process of elimination, my number 1, the movie I consider to be one of the greatest slashers of all time, is Friday the 13th Part 4, The Final Chapter. Why is that? Because what I've been saying throughout this ranking, what do I look for? Great characters that are funny or quotable or at least entertaining to kind of keep the pace going, because if the characters suck, the pace kind of takes a dip because you're like, whatever, just get me Jason. Where's Jason? Characters make the time go by quicker when they're entertaining and they're well written or well acted. These are great characters, great kills. You got Tom Savini doing the effects, a great Jason played by Ted White, one of the best Jasons. Again, he runs. I like that. The atmosphere, Joseph Zito's direction, the hottest chicks of the franchise. Next to part, 12, the remake, whatever. Hot babes, TNA, sex, Crispin Glover, Corey Feldman as Tommy Jarvis, the start of the Tommy Jarvis trilogy, so on and so forth. Some of the comedy in this movie, there's not a lot of it, but there's some that makes me laugh every time. The dog jumping out of the window, like, fuck this, I'm out. Just funny shit. It's got a very tense third act. I love the final chase in this movie from, house A to house B, back to house A, back and forth. Jason breaking down the door, throwing hammers. This is Jason at his most extreme until the remake. This is what Jason should be. It's brutal as fuck. The kills are mean. Axel, Jesus, jumping Christmas shit. It's just perfect. It's the perfect slasher. I have no negatives for this movie. Rob could have fought back more. He's killing me. But I like that he just got his ass taken out. Jason's so badass that he can't be taken down, even by Rob. Alright, so it makes sense that he didn't get to fight back at all. I'm sure some people would have preferred that he fought back, but I can't really think of anything else that would be a criticism at all. It's just a fun movie, well-paced, just like Part 6. So it's my favorite of the franchise. And I think it's most people's favorites. I mean, not Rotten Tomatoes, but fuck what they say. This is the best slasher in this franchise, and it's the best slasher in general. So that's my ranking of Friday the 13th. What is your ranking? Put it in the comments below. Tell me where I lost you. I'm sure I lost somebody. I'm sure you clicked away, hit dislike. Wait, what? Part 5 at where? Part 1 where? It's just an opinion. Get over yourself. You know that I'm not going to agree with you 100%. If your ranking is exactly like mine, I will be shocked. If you're that person, don't lie to me. let me know. I would be very curious to see anybody have my ranking exactly. So put your ranking in the comments below. Tell me why. Don't just put the list. Just give me little bullets. Or just tell me what your number 1 is, or whatever you want, all right? But make it interesting. Make it a fun read. And thank you so much for joining me tonight. If you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and share with all your friends and become a subscriber today. I'd really appreciate it by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And until next time, auf Wiedersehen.